So here I'm going to be using a range of tips and tricks in Photoshop to completely transform this image into a sunset aesthetic photo. So the image I'm using is this girl in a field with a relatively normal looking sky. First, I'm going to go in and expand the canvas size. I'm going to go for more of a square shape. Next, I'm going to use a selection tool. The one I've opted for in this instance is the rectangular marquee tool. I'm going to click Generative Fill and then I'm going to click Generate. And all this will do is generate the bits that I've selected and widen the image. These generations are fairly good. I like the last generation. Once I've decided, then I'm going to merge these two images together, and this just makes it easy to work with the rest of the image and ensure that no accidental mistakes are made, just because it makes it easier to work with one image. Alternatively, you could group the layers together. I just like to merge the images because it also makes the file smaller, as I know I don't want to keep the other generations. And next, I'm going to use one of Photoshop's new tools. I'm going to go to Select and I'm going to click Select Sky. Before, you might use the Magic Wand tool or the Quick Selection tool to try and select the sky, but this tool just does it for you super quickly, easily. Perfect, so that's selected. Let's delete this, and I'm going to use a sunset image as a backdrop to this field. So already that looks good to me. Next, I'm going to use a really easy tip, and I'm going to select the field. I'm going to go to Image, Adjustments, and Match Color. And I'm going to select the current file I'm working with, and for the source I'm going to select the current file I'm working with, and for the layer I'm going to choose the background layer to match this with. If you want to see a full tutorial on how to use this tool, then I've linked it above so you can have a look. So you can play around with the different settings, such as so this is matching the foreground to the color of the background. I'm going to increase the fade so that the foreground still looks realistic. So I think this looks better. Though the foreground does look a bit pale, so I'm going to use a filter. This is another tip you can use, and so you can just go to Image, Adjustments, and Hue Saturation, and I'm going to adjust this to bring back some of those gold tones that we removed previously. Okay, that's looking good. Okay, now I'm happy with this. I am going to group these layers and I'm going to duplicate the group. I'm going to disable the visibility on the first group. I'm going to keep this as a backup just in case what I generate using my second group isn't that good, or I don't like it, or it's basically unrectifiable. Okay, so lastly, I want to blur out the background and some of the foreground and really focus in on our subject. So I'm going to go to Filter, Blur Gallery, and I'm going to select Tilt Shift. You can use the middle radius button and you can move its position up or down, left and right. I like to keep this in the middle. You can also rotate the border around it to increase the blur or decrease it, depending on what kind of effect you want. Okay, so I'm going to move this down so that the subject is falls within those two focal lines. You can also increase or decrease the outer lines to determine how much you blur the image that falls out of those regions. Okay, so I'm just adjusting it until I'm happy, and once I am happy, I'm going to click OK. So you can see a slight difference here. The foreground does also merge in with the background to a much better degree when you do or use this effect. So lastly, and one of my other tips, is I'm going to use some color grading to make this photo as aesthetic as possible. You can go to Image, Adjustments, and go to Curves. For this, you need to ensure that either all your layers are selected or that you have merged all your layers so it is one image you're working with. Otherwise, it's going to just change the curves or the colors on a specific area or a specific layer and not on the whole image, which is ultimately what I want to do. So I'm just going to slightly adjust the curves until the purples and pinks really stand out. Secondly, I'm going to go to color balance and I'm going to add in some more blue tones and a slightly pink overtone as well. And there we go. This is looking better than I had imagined it would. So let's zoom in. You can see that detail, you can see where the blur starts, and it all does look quite realistic. So our subject's perfectly in focus and her foreground and background are blurred, or as some would call it, have a bokeh effect. So let's look at the before and after. This is before and this is after. So if you guys enjoyed this video, then please hit the like button so that I know you enjoy these types of videos. And if you want to hear more about how you can use Photoshop's Generative AI to create cool images like this, then please hit the subscribe button and I'll see you guys next time.